guys, it's Maria, and today, or tonight actually, well basically we're going to do the Goth Tag, and I figured the best way to do the Goth Tag is to do it with my very good friend Marie.
Hello!
Yay! And we're doing this after our local goth night at 4, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, and I figure this is the best way to do a Goth Tag because it's right after a goth event. It's right after we've been drinking.
So and dancing.
And dancing. And dancing a lot, because, oh my gosh, it was a fun night. So I figure, like, this is the time for us to be very honest with the Goth Tag questions. So we're going to do this. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Thank you so much for doing this with me.
You're welcome.
I'm excited.
My pleasure.
I'm excited. Okay.
Question number
one. How long have you been in goth?
Well, I actually was goth before I knew what goth was.
Okay.
I always loved Halloween. It was my favorite holiday. Yep. And the first time I went to a haunted house, I was like, I want this to be my life.
Awesome.
So pretty much for me,
no, I get that. I really do.
It's sort of a blood deep thing, and I feel like for a lot of us, that's really what it is. It's
no, I agree because in my family, we celebrated Halloween with just as much respect as we did Christmas. Like my mom would make us costumes, and it was just a big thing. But like even when I was younger, before I knew what goth was, like I loved spooky stories. I loved Halloween. I loved ghost stories. Oh my god.
What was it? Scary stories to tell in the dark?
Yes.
I had that thing on like permanent checkout from the elementary school library every time.
Yes,
every time.
Just even when fall hit and the smell of the air changed and the colors and everything, like I just loved it.
You could feel it. You could feel it every year. You could feel it.
I can't remember what grade it was, but when we first got into like Edgar Allan Poe and all those required reading. Knowledge is important. But like I love that stuff, and I think I was the same. I was into goth before I even knew what goth was. Yep. Before I knew what the title of it was, because I just loved it. And then growing up with when you saw like Elvira and things like that.
Oh god, yeah.
It's like, what is this?
Yep. Absolutely.
I want to be this.
I am honestly ashamed to say that like I didn't even know Elvira was a thing until very late into my life. But I think it kind of became one of those things where it was like the Munsters, the Addams Family, Elvira. I was like, I want to live in those houses, and I want to wear those clothes, and I want to have that life.
I remember back in the day, and then we'll go to the next question because I know we're kind of like making this long. But back in the day, like me and my brother, we used to stay up. Or we'd wake up early on like Saturday mornings, and they would have like the reruns of like the Monsters and the Addams Family and things like that. And I just thought they were like the coolest thing ever. Yep. Like I loved it. I was like, this is awesome.
This is the thing? Like this is my thing. I need to do this thing.
That was great. So yeah, so we both kind of knew that we were goth before we knew what goth was. Yay! Okay, so the second question is, how were you introduced to goth?
Oh, good God. I think I can honestly say that I call it my gateway drugs. Yeah. One of my gateway drugs was actually the band Covenant. When I was in college, and yes, it was that late for me. 'Cause up to that point, I was kind of like a hard rock girl. I didn't really... I hadn't even really touched like the industrial scene and the goth electronica and all of that. I mean, like not even like classic goth rock I hadn't even touched yet. But I got back in touch with an old friend from high school who like had Covenant on repeat, and I was like, oh my god, who is this? This is amazing. Yeah. And I mean, it was just a short slip and slide down into everything else, and it was just I mean, you know, once it strikes a chord with you, you kind of just like follow the rabbit hole. And,
yeah.
I would say that's. Yeah.
Mine was very similar. It was a friend that made a mixtape. It was like years so back. But yeah, it was either mixtape or mix CD. And on it, they had like, because I already knew about punk stuff and went to, like, back in the day in Somerville, like, we had a lot of local punk shows. So, like, I already knew that. And my friend made a CD, and it had, like, some punk stuff, but then it had this other stuff, and it had, like, the Smiths and Sisters of Mercy.
Oh, God.
And it wasn't labeled. That was the thing. It was not labeled. And I got kind of frustrated because I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, my friend, I was like, what is this? And she was like, oh, you don't know who the Smiths are? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't. And you don't know who this is? I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't.
No.
And that was like one of my first introductions. And then I guess the second one is I was downtown Charleston and hanging out with like the punk kids and whatnot on one of the streets, and this girl came and she was like decked out.
Oh.
She had on like this just like gorgeous black dress. She had on the little pillbox hat with like the little netting.
Yep.
To the nines. I was just mesmerized. I was like, you're so pretty.
Yeah. Yep, the aesthetic is huge.
I remember that. I was like, oh my God, you're so pretty. This is what I like. So
no, and that's funny because I was actually big into the punk scene in high school too.
Yeah.
So I don't think I ever really understood how closely related they were.
Yeah. So I think it was kind of like punk and then into goth.
Like,
that was the bridge, because a lot of people that I knew were into punk. They were into death rock and into goth, and it was kind of like, because it was such a small scene too,
and
everybody knew each other.
Well, and it evolved. I mean, post-punk is what became goth rock. So, I mean, they're sort of related technically.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really what kind of happened, I guess you could say.
Traditional.
Yeah. So the third question is, what goth subgenre would you put yourself in?
You know, I kind of like to be a chameleon. Sometimes I go really hardcore Victorian. Sometimes I go really hardcore romantic, like corsets and the nines. Sometimes I do more of the punk, classic goth rock
kind
look.
Of trad goth,
very
traditional goth.
Laid back even.
I think you're also a little steampunk too.
Yeah.
And I know people are kind of like, steampunk's not goth. No, like, I'm sorry.
Diesel punk, because I prefer blacks instead of browns and the silvers instead of brass, but yes.
I'm one of those people, I don't, I feel no shame with that. Like, I totally accept that part, because I do feel like it's a part, because it has a lot of those elements, and I have no problem with it. I know some people are like, oh, that's not goth or whatever. When the silhouette is almost the same, and the music is almost the same, you're in the goth subculture. It is.
Yeah, no,
like, I'm sorry. Like, some people don't like it. Each is to their own, but it's in the family.
Yeah. Oh,
it's the cousin, but it's in the family.
Yeah, you could take a hardcore steampunk junkie and put them in a goth club, and they would pretty much blend
and they know the music. They know
vice versa. You take a Victorian goth and you stick them in a steampunk convention, and they'll just feel right at home.
There you go.
So I think I do like to chameleon. I like to kind of whatever I feel like. At an industrial show, I'll wear ripped up tights and a skirt and a tank top and just go casual.
Yeah, and I've seen you, like I said, in like, the kind of like, Egyptian kind of garb and things like that. I've seen. I know, I love it, and I love it. Like, and I think it's amazing. I kind of feel like I'm the same way. I loved the death rock style. I do. I wish I could pull off the hawk and everything. I don't feel like I have the head for it.
Me neither. No.
But I think it's gorgeous. So, number 4. So, number 4. What do you believe is the basis of the Gothic subculture?
Well, actually, my freshman year of college, I took a class about subcultures, and they sort of delved into the technical basis. But really for me, the philosophy behind it is just sort of an appreciation and love for the anti-norm. So, you know, the perfect American girl is tan and blonde and loves the summer and is happy all the time. And goths like pale skin, dark hair. They love the fall or the winter, and they dress in dark colors, and they don't necessarily expect that you're going to be happy all the time. And you're sort of allowed to like things that you can have an appreciation for things like death, which is very like American culture doesn't really understand that at all. It's very taboo. It's actually kind of interesting compared to other cultures, but really for me, goth is just an appreciation for the other, for the darker side of life.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, I feel like it's almost two parts. You could go way back into, I mean, and even before this, but just as a standard, like, you know, like, as far as, like, literature, like, you know, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, you know, and Edgar Allan Poe, and Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think, you know, those are the great grandpas and grandpas of goth, because they kind of saw the beauty in things that might be macabre. And like I said, even, like, before that, there's, there's writings and poems and things like that.
Culture has evolved kind of to turn a blind eye to that, I feel like. Yeah. And we sort of harken back and look at it and are like, why are we completely ignoring this portion of our history? Yeah. It's still important. It's still relevant.
Yeah. And then the other part is the post-punk part, which is, and I think you can't have one without the other, you know, because I love that literature and that kind of like that basis, that foundation, but also after post-punk, you know, you had, you know, Susie and the Banshees, you had Killing Joke, you had Sisters of Mercy, you had all those other people, you know, that kind of made this aesthetic out of the punk, that made this music, you know, kind of post that was a little bit, I don't want to say slower, but kind of delve with more of those situations. And I believe that's the basis. That's me. I believe that's the basis of the goth subculture. I feel like even if you don't like it, you should have a sense of a slight respect for it. Because, like, without those people, we would not have what we have today.
Yeah, that was
and even to, foundation. Like, the pastel punk, pastel goth, creepy cute, cyberpunk,
all that.
You know, new goth. I'm trying to think, like, what else.
Oh god.
There's so much
sub cultures. I mean, it gets a little bit dizzying for me sometimes, but it's just, I feel like the thread that runs through it all, just, I mean, it sort of all comes back.
Yeah.
To center.
I think, like, you have to have the literature first, that kind of, like, in the way back foundation. Because even, like, Bela Lugosi's dead. You can't have Bauhaus singing about Bela Lugosi's dead without Bela Lugosi playing Dracula.
Yeah.
You can't have Dracula without Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah. And so it kind of like, you know, flows down. Exactly. So you can't have one without the other. So that's
a perfect example, actually.
Yeah. I know, it's one of the best.
It's true. It's true.
And then you can't have, like, we were talking about it earlier, and even my husband, Tommy, he talked about it. The band She Wants Revenge came on. Another DJ was playing it tonight. Yep. And he's like, oh, yeah, they're total... What did he say?
They could totally be Joy
Division or Bauhaus or something like that. And and that band in particular, it was like, yeah, you know, these are the people that I really like and respect. So you can't have one without the other. So there we go. So, number 5. What do you dislike about being in goth?
I think the elitism bothers me, because we're all outcasts. I think we all can identify with being an outcast at some point in our lives. Yeah. Liking something that wasn't popular, being made fun of for what we chose to wear. I mean, I even had friends in high school who would make fun of me when I wore fishnet shirts and, bondage pants. And, I mean, these were people I consider my friends. Now, granted, that was a lapse of judgment on my part at that time, but, I mean, I think we all can sort of appreciate what it felt like to be an outcast. So the elitism, I don't really understand how, I mean, I guess just sort of, I can and I can't at the same time. You want to feel like you're a part of something, and, it's easy for the bullied to become the bully, but I think we could really do without that. I think it would go a long way to go.
I was going to say elitism, but I haven't had too much problem with that.
No.
Like, honestly, like, it's usually just, like, one or two people. Honestly, because it's like usually a small scene and everybody knows each other and everybody gets along, but there's always that one or two people that just tends to be jerks.
And it's either that or awkwardness, I've found too. Sometimes awkwardness can be preconceived as elitism, and when you actually sit down and talk to them and you're both sort of like socially awkward, then you're kind of like, oh, okay, so you don't hate me, you just didn't know how to talk to me.
The only thing that like really honestly bothers me, and it's not even as much as elitism, is people that don't support the scene.
Oh God.
That is my one thing, because I don't care how you dress, I don't care what makeup you wear or anything like that, but like if there's a show or a DJ night or something, because we are a subgenre of a subgenre of a subgenre, if you don't have that support, then you're not going to have anything, you know, and I hate it when people say, oh, there's nothing to do, there's nothing going on, and then when there is finally a night, and then you don't show up, well, how do you expect to have something when you don't support it?
Right. Or you sit there and you're not even looking for it. You do, like, oh, I didn't even know this was, like, were you even looking?
Marie here lives how many, like an hour or so away?
I live probably an hour and a half away. Yeah. And I came up tonight.
And she came up to the night tonight, and like, and the thing is like, because we're such like a small community, if you have to stay the night with somebody, there's always going to be somebody to help you out. Yeah. So the fact that you come an hour plus away to support a scene that's technically not your local scene, but it is the goth scene, says something. Yeah. And I know people that live like 15 minutes away, and they're like, I don't.
Well, there are things going on in my community too. That's not to say it doesn't happen down where I live, but like, you guys are really pretty solid up here, and it's a lot less pretentious, which is really, really nice.
I'm just saying, support your scene. That's all I'm saying. Support your scene.
Please. Otherwise it's gonna disappear.
It's gonna die, and then you're gonna be stuck at home being like, I wish there was something to do. I wish I could go dance.
Undead goth community is really provocative, but we really don't want the scene to die.
I think this one's going to be pretty fast. What do your parents think of it?
I think once my parents got it, I think for a really long time they were trying to like figure me out. Like I think my mom thought something was wrong with me. And once she sort of got it, like, I don't think I even sat down and was like, basically, Mom, it's like Halloween equals life. I didn't have to do that, but once she understood it, she was all for it. She got behind me. She would, Halloween was, basically Christmas, all the presents. I mean, I think they just want you to be happy when it comes down to it. And I think that just understanding was important to sort of get it. Even though she's not a part of the scene, to understand it was important.
With my parents, especially with my mom, we were always kind of a weird kind of family to begin with. And that's a whole nother long story. But like, she was really crafty, and she loved Halloween, and to them that was like, that was just a magical holiday. So that was never a big thing. When I got older, my dad had a few rules, and basically it wasn't even a goth thing. It was just making sure like your skirt wasn't showing all your butt, just stuff sort of like that.
Common decency,
decency thing. Like, he didn't care I wore black. They didn't care I colored my hair. My mom was a hairdresser. Well, she would color my hair. So like, that never bothered them. They just wanted to make sure I was safe. And I was like, no one was taking advantage of me, but like other than that, I really didn't care.
And for a community, I think goth is a good place to be for that.
Yeah.
When you're younger, for sure.
So my parents were really accepting. Even when I had my wedding, my mom, she knew I didn't want to have a traditional wedding, so she called it Goth Girl Grown Up. So it was like, I was like, I want black and purple, and she's like, we're gonna do this, and she made it really nice and really elegant, and it worked, and everybody loved it. So but she got it. I didn't want the typical
white dress.
No, but she was like, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it very grown up and kind of elegant style, and so like they were very accepting. Yeah. So this is a funny one. Number 7, eyebrows or no eyebrows.
As you can tell, I still have my natural brows. We'll just say that I have been blessed with good brows, but I've never really appreciated the whole, like, let me just shave them off and draw them on or tattoo them on. I think I got lucky with, like, well-defined and well-shaped brows, but I know that goth isn't all about a natural aesthetic, but I think if you can achieve the look that you're going for while keeping it natural, it's nice.
Yeah.
I think it works.
For me, I have very light eyebrows, and I color them in with
I have light
powder
too,
and stuff like that. As far as like shaving them, like to me, I really don't care. Each is to their own. Some people look great with it. Some people look like not so great with it or without it, kind of thing. And I think it's just up to the person. I don't think it matters.
Right.
It don't matter.
It's just whatever works for you, to be honest.
I can't draw a straight line to save my ass.
Start with me.
So like if I were to it would be a hot mess. It would be a hot mess.
Yeah, lingering. Did you get a K for a child?
They would not be on fleek.
No.
Okay. No. So the next one. What is your favorite band?
Oh God, really? That's really one of the questions.
I know. I hate that question. Because I do not have a favorite band. I have
a top 5.
I have a lot of bands that I love. I have Sisters of Mercy, Killing Joke, Susie. Susie is my goddess. A lot of industrial bands too. Skinny Puppy.
I sort of feel like we have to
we can go on. This could be a whole nother segment.
Like, okay, so who is your favorite classic goth rock band? I would have to say Susie. Who's your favorite classic industrial band?
Skinny Puppy.
Who's your favorite...
Or Pigface.
Oh, or Pigface, yep. Who's your favorite
There's a
synth
lot.
pop band? I mean, we just sort of, like, goth
There's
music
a lot.
bleeds
There's
everywhere.
a lot. I hate saying favorites.
Well, I agree, because why can't I like everything? Like,
you can't tell, we're record collectors, and we listen to a lot of music.
Well,
I hate favorites.
I change every day what I want to listen to. I'm a total music file. I love everything. I grew up in a family. My parents are both professional musicians, so I have appreciation for pretty much everything in the scene.
Yeah, so I have a lot of favorites, if you want to say there's favorites. So we're going to move on from that. So, number 9, your opinion on Marilyn Manson.
Okay, so I feel really strongly that if you don't know, you think that he is goth. You think that he is like the sort of cardboard cutout of goth. And for me, I can sort of appreciate what he's done to bring a gothic aesthetic to the mainstream, but I don't feel that he's a poster child for the true goth scene. No. For the mainstream, yes. Because
for me, I mean, it's even hard to say he's goth. He has a lot of the aesthetic.
Yes.
But back in the day when he first started, to me, he was really in the industrial scene. He was in the industrial metal scene out of, like, Florida and things like that. And then he kind of, like, came up. He was friends with Trent and all this other stuff. Yeah. And he has a lot of those goth aesthetics.
Yes.
As far as, like, makeup and imagery and things like that. But to me, he was more of the industrial metal scene.
Right.
Now,
well, and his music isn't strictly goth veined either.
No. And I will say, like, I don't diss him at all. No. I think a lot of the things that he does is catchy and fun. Mm-hmm. And I know that's kind of funny to say, catchy and fun.
Well, that now it is. But before it was all shock value.
Yeah, it was all shock. He's smart.
Oh, God, he's ridiculous.
He's ridiculously smart. He knew how to market things.
Oh, yeah.
He knew how to like you said, to, like, kind of bridge into the mainstream. Mm-hmm. And he hit it at the right time, too.
Oh, God.
He hit it at the right, like...
It was sort of a
one
stroke
of the stars aligned, and he hit it at the right time.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I feel like a lot of people will not admit that they like Marilyn Manson. I'm like, like, that first album was brilliant. I think... From beginning to end, it was a great concept album.
To be fair, he actually did do a lot to show the mainstream that there is a darker subculture.
Yeah.
Whether or not he necessarily specifically aligns with it, but it did sort of make the mainstream sort of open their eyes and see, like, yep, there's other stuff out there. And I think I can guess probably a lot of people found their way to goth through him.
Yeah.
That wasn't me personally, but that's just a guess. But.
Yeah. So, he's smart. He's not a bad guy.
Yeah, no.
His music is fun and entertaining.
He's not.
It is what it is.
I'll be honest, he's not on my favorites list.
Not my favorite.
But,
not my favorite. I mean, but I don't hate him.
I don't think you can deny his impact.
Yeah. And the cat is talking. She's like, I don't hate him either. Kagan. Okay, so we don't hate him. We appreciate him. I guess. Moving on.
Yep.
Okay, so the last question is, what were your baby bat days? What were your baby bat days like?
Oh, God. Well, we were kind of talking about this earlier. Oh, my goodness. Like, now to you. Coming up, as you would say, in high school, I was big in the punk scene. I mean, there were punk shows every weekend. So I sort of started from that rock background. And then, I learned about Covenant. I started learning more. I mean, I knew Nine Inch Nails when I was in high school, but I don't think I ever really dove deep into that pool until after I sort of... went down the rabbit hole, basically.
I got you. It was like, it was just an evolution.
It really was, and it was gradual, and then, like we were talking about, you were goth before you knew you were goth. It was sort of one of those things where it was like, things sort of started, like, piecing together, and you're like, well, a lot of this is making more sense to me, like, why? And it was almost sort of like, man, I really wish I had known about this earlier, but it's not something that someone can sit you down and be like, okay, so goth, blah, blah, blah.
Is this?
Yeah, no, because there's really no definition. Yeah. Goth is whatever a goth wants it to be.
Yeah.
So my baby bat days were just sort of learning about it and, like, being a sponge. I just wanted to know all about it. And, oh, God. Everything changed when I discovered, like, classic goth rock.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Susie and Sisters of Mercy.
That was
and
a
the
big
Smiths
difference.
And, oh, my God.
Because I started out very similar. I started with, like, our kind of, like, local punk scene. And then I learned about, like, this other punk and stuff like that. And then it bridged into... And I'm not even going to say this. The band, even though a lot of people consider them punk, but like TSOL, who is very gothy. They have like a lot of gothiness to it. Killing Joke, you could say it's punk, or you could say it's goth rock, or you could say it's whatever.
They really bridge it.
They really bridge it too. So like you have Killing Joke, Susie and the Banshees and things like that. Mm-hmm. So aesthetically, it was a hot mess. I'm not gonna lie.
You're learning,
I'm not gonna lie, like, my eyeliner was drawn into spider webs more than one time.
That's cute.
Badly.
Oh, well.
Badly.
You learn. you know.
I did used to use black eyeliner as lipstick too, because back in the day you only got black lipstick during Halloween.
That's true.
And it was shitty.
And now it's chic. Oh God, I can't even tell
like,
you.
What the hell?
All this stuff, like, oh my God, because black lipstick or black nail polish now is like really big.
Yeah.
And like mainstream, and they're like, oh, it's not goth, it's mainstream. Oh my God.
It's edgy.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's edgy.
Yep. Soccer mom, you go on with your bad self.
Yeah, but I mean, aesthetically,
I'm not trying to hate. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to throw hate, but
and you know what? My style really hasn't changed that much. It was like
it just got better. You just got better at it.
It was like fishnets or ripped up tights, black skirt, a band T-shirt, or some type of velvet something dress.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. My
lots of eyeliner.
Real goth.
Lots of eyeliner.
Was like corsets. I love corsets, and I still do. A perfectly fitted and molded corset is a beautiful thing. A lot of people don't have the patience to properly break one in, but a good steel bone corset is still my favorite go-to. It's not always comfortable though, and it's not always practical, but it's a beautiful it's a beautiful thing.
Wow. And I will say there was more punk people that I knew, and then there was like this like little handful of like goth people, and you could like, and they were amazing because I was like, I love your style. I was a dork. I don't care.
Oh, we were all fangirls, I think, before we figured out where we fit.
I love your style. How do you do your makeup? You know, and I think we were like, no matter what, you have somebody that you kind of like look up to.
Absolutely. Even now, you're kind of just like.
And another thing too, I don't think baby bat is a bad term.
No.
I think it's a term of endurement. Like, I can't talk.
Well, like, a baby bat.
It's a term of love.
Baby bat just makes me want to, like, take them under my wing and, like, teach them the ways.
Yeah. And don't be afraid of asking questions or asking what band this is or where you bought something at.
Of all the cultures, like, please don't be afraid. Like, I mean, that's not really how we roll.
Yeah. So
just be curious.
I love the term baby because everybody started out somewhere.
Absolutely, and don't deny
it's a term
your
of
roots.
love.
Don't
it's a term of love. Who doesn't want to be a baby bat? They're cute. They're cute. They're adorable.
And it's funny because I think about it now and like we're still pretty young. Like I don't call us baby bats, but we're certainly not like old bats yet.
We're middle bats.
We're mid bats.
We're not elder goths. We're mid bats. We're in between bats.
We're midlife bats.
Midlife bats.
We're about to change our style, or buy some crazy.
I can't wait till we're crazy old ladies living on the edge of the street.
Oh my God!
People are afraid to come to our house during Halloween,
and like we're forced to draw on our eyebrows because we don't have.
I will have so many wigs.
Oh God! Trick or treating is gonna be like
so many wigs.
The trick or treat game is gonna be like off the hook.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm using all this weird terminology.
But yeah, I feel like, mid bats.
Mid bat
for sure.
Middle life bat.
Middle life bat. We gotta come up with a term. Mid goth. Middle goth. I don't know. Anyways, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out.
Yep.
But yeah, because I do know some people that are older than me that I consider them elder goth, like elder goths, that have been around since.
Oh man. Since, not necessarily the inception, but, like, real close.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And I just really love hearing those stories, too, of, like, what the clubs were like and all this other stuff, so.
Oh, man, the heyday. I mean, honestly, it really, when you think about it, the goth scene now is very much an afterlife. Like, it has never come back to what it was back. I mean, like, we're not even talking about like the early 80s. We're talking about like the mid 90s.
Yeah.
And it's seen its birth and rebirth, and I think we're sort of just I'd love to see it explode again.
Yeah.
I really would. And to be honest, our culture right now is sort of swinging back to the darker aesthetic. Horror is huge. Supernatural is huge. But I'd still like to see, like you said, the scene. Like, people need to support the scene.
So to sum it up, support your scene.
Do it.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to support people or talk or whatever or get to know your community.
We might be awkward, but like we'll never be mean.
No.
I mean, if you know,
there's more niceness than like I said, than eliteness. There is more niceness.
We may come off as really aloof, but.
And the sun is coming out, so we probably need to end this.
Oh my God.
Holy sisters of mercy.
It is time to close the coffin lid and
go to sleep. Okay, so thank you so much. If you like this rambling, please like, subscribe,
do this stuff,
make comments. Hey, and this is my friend Marie. So good night, and bye-bye, and talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.